Hello, my name is Susan Woods, and I am the Executive Director of Comprehensive Community-Based Solutions Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The employer identification number is 421672537. I would like to present to you the first draft of the Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials Black History Documentary Project. I want to emphasize that it is the first draft because it is not formatted, it's not visually appealing. It is, I'm sure it has many grammatical errors in it. I just wanted to share the first draft just to let you see the flow of the information that will be presented in the project as well as how this project will work. I am asking for your feedback on the layout, on the flow of information. After I receive your feedback, then I will go back and do the revisions necessary to make this project visually appealing to the public and then share it as I've explained in this outline. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me present this information and to share the information with you. This is a passion project for me, something I've been thinking about now for quite some time, and I'm glad to finally get something, get the first draft created and ready to share with you for your feedback. This picture that I found in Google Pictures is by far one of the saddest pictures I've ever seen in my life. It clearly depicts a baby, a toddler, with a sack tied around his shoulder for him to pick cotton and put in the bag. The Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials Black History Documentary Project is something, like I said, has been on my mind for quite some time to create. I want this to be a living history that future generations, not only black people, but people who are interested in American history, will see as something that is very valuable and profound. Again, this project is sponsored by my nonprofit organization called Comprehensive Community-Based Solutions Incorporated, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and the EIN is 421672537. I want to create through my nonprofit organization community-based solutions, and the solution that I'm presenting this time is a solution to the gap that exists in the knowledge around people who pick cotton, black people who pick cotton. That's a gap in our history that I want to close. I want us to learn about those people while we still have them here to talk about it. So again, the purpose of the Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials Black History Project is to share authentic testimonials recorded by black people who pick cotton in a format that future generations can use to learn about this overlooked, poorly recognized, but extremely important aspect of black history. Historical perspective. Before providing the project details and how this is going to work, I feel it is important to learn about the history of cotton and how people used black people to make it king cotton in the South. So over the next few slides, we provide historical perspectives of cotton in an attempt to help everyone realize the importance of recording the former cotton pickers' authentic testimonials today, now. Get this recorded now. Cotton. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines cotton as a soft, usually fibrous substance composed of the hairs surrounding the seeds of various erect, freely branching tropical plants, the genus Gossypium, of the mallow family. It's a long definition for cotton, but that's what the definition is. Cotton history. Here's a quote that I found interesting. If slavery was the cornerstone of the Confederacy, cotton was its foundation. At home, its social and economic institutions rested upon cotton. Abroad, its diplomacy centered around the well-known dependence of Europe upon an uninterrupted supply of cotton from the Southern states by Frank W. Owsley Jr. And the source is here. Mississippi History Now. It was a feature story called Cotton and the Civil War by Eugene Datto. Cotton was America's leading export for 134 years, from 1803 to 1937. The cotton history timeline. I wanted to include a timeline here that kind of walked us through the history of cotton. And again, please excuse the format is not visually appealing yet, but I just wanted to give a historical timeline of cotton so that it can lead up and explain the role that black people paid or played in the history. So in 1803, the cotton, I put cotton started, but cotton harvesting and planting and all of that started in 1803. 1830s to 1840s, most commonly used phrase describing the growth of the American economy in those years is cotton is king. In 1858, South Carolina Senator James Henry Hammond had a famous boast, and I'm going to insert this boast so that you can see what he said, but it's real famous and it's something that I'm going to add to this timeline in this spot. In 1860, cotton price is 10 cents per pound. Southern plantations supplied 75% of the world's cotton total value of nearly $200 million per year, which equals 6.2 billion in 2019 according to the inflation calculator. Now let that sink in. In 1860, Southern plantations supplied 75% of the world's cotton total, which valued nearly $200 million per year, which equals $6.2 billion in 2019, according to the inflation calculator. Black people picked that cotton. Think about that. In 1860, cotton crops were highly lucrative. Again, exports of cotton was $191 million, which was 58% of our exports. 70% of enslaved blacks were invaluable in cotton production. Slavery spread only where cotton could grow. Slavery spread only where they knew cotton could grow. From 1861 and 1860 to 1865, we had the American Civil War. In 1861, King Cotton diplomacy, strongly supported by the President of the Confederacy, who was Jefferson Davis. Convinced that their way of life, based on slavery, was irretrievably threatened by the election of President Abraham Lincoln following the seven states seceded from the Union and formed the Confederacy because their economies were based on cotton plantations. Those states were South Carolina, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas. They all seceded from the Union to form the Confederacy because they knew their economies were based on the cotton plantations, and the Union was moving away from that, actually opposed that. From 1863 to 1864, the price of cotton rose to $1.89 per pound from 10 cents per pound in 1860 due to the increase in demand from Britain. Britain had a very high demand for cotton. In 1865, the American Civil War ended. From 1865 to 1877, sharecropping emerged after Reconstruction, which represented the transition from black people picking cotton as enslaved people to black people picking cotton as people who still pick cotton under a structure that did not provide financial freedom and kept black people as indentured servants without the ability to become educated. So, even though they say, oh, slavery ended, well, I guess you can say that in a technically speaking, but really, when you don't have any hope for your future and you're still working picking cotton just under a sharecropper's um, system, doesn't mean you're really free. And my parents were a part of this generation of sharecroppers. They picked cotton, and from their stories, I know they weren't free. My mother said she never even imagined not picking cotton. She thought that was her future because it was her mother's life and her grandmother's life and everybody else's life before her. So why would she even think she would have a better life? From 1870 to 1880, cotton production and exports continued to increase. In the 1900s, in 1914, the U.S. grew two-thirds of the cotton used in the entire world, which amounted to 16 million bales of raw cotton, each bale weighing 600 pounds. In 1920, black people represented three-fourths of the cotton croppers who worked on cotton farms. Again, they're still working on the cotton farms in 1920. In 1922, cotton harvesting decreased due to overproduction and the boll weevil pest. About 50,000 black people left South Carolina due to the decrease in the demand for cotton pickers in 1922. In the 1930s, the South Carolina population of black people decreased by approximately 15%, largely due to cotton production stagnation. They didn't have anything to do. 1940s and 1950s. The Great Black Migration to the North due to the mechanization of the cotton picking process, which left many black people unemployed because the need for manual labor decreased significantly. My mother's six sisters migrated to the north during this time frame. So families were broken up because of the mechanization of the cotton picking process. Glad not to be in the cotton fields anymore, but if that's all you knew, you had to find other employment. So six of her sisters left the family and moved up north to New York, Baltimore, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. The Hope and Planting Company produced the first crop of cotton to be entirely planted, harvested, and baled by machinery in 1944. Mechanical combine harvesting machines picked 96% of the cotton crop starting in 1948. The combine machines reduced the man hours required to pick cotton from 125 hours per acre to 25 hours. The combine harvesting machines completed the exodus of black people from the rural South to the urban North in search of employment opportunities between 1950 and the late 1960s. So, I wanted to give a very short historical perspective on cotton and how that cotton impacted, or the cotton industry impacted black people. Cotton was definitely king, but it would not have been king without the labor of black people who made it king. So now we're going to transition over to how the Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials project will work. The importance of authentic testimonials. It is very important to document authentic testimonials from people who actually pick cotton because they are the only ones who can share the authentic truth about their experiences. Normally, cotton picking is lumped into the whole sharecropping experience, which was one form of agriculture in which the landowner allows the tenant to use the land in return for a share of the crops produced on their portion of the land. Sharecropping became into wide use in the United States during the Reconstruction era from 1865 to 1877. However, it did continue until the Great Ma- Great Black Migration, because my parents were a part of that unjust system of sharecropping. The structure was another form of legal abuse of black labor. My mother said she picked 100 pounds of cotton, or the goal was to pick 100 pounds of cotton per day for $2, which she had to give to her father. All the families, that was their way of survival. And I believe that is why women had so many children, because in their minds, the more children you have, the more money you can make picking cotton. My mother is number 12 of 12. My father is number 5 of 10. So that was the mindset. The more children, the better. I mean, my maternal grandmother's good friend had 22 children. 22 kids. Because that was the mindset. The more children, the more money. It's sad. We need to allow former cotton pickers to share their authentic testimonials separate from the tobacco, rice, sugar, and other harvesters, which are lumped into the sharecropping umbrella. I want the cotton pickers to be separate. I want to hear their stories separately. That's why I didn't want this to be called sharecroppers testimonials, because sharecroppers is a broad term that is used for everybody that worked under that unjust system. I want their testimonials to be separate. Their testimonials are valuable parts of Black history that future generations need to hear. Therefore, we present the Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials, a Black History documentary project. Now, the development process, how is this all going to work? How is this project going to work? The Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials Black History, the documentary project development process includes several steps described on the upcoming slides. And I want to present these steps in a sequence that I think is logical and makes sense and allows the flow to be easy to implement. So I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about this too. Steps. Step one, create the social platforms, the YouTube channel, the Facebook page, and the website to share information about the project, recruit participants, and to upload the testimonials. Those social platforms are already ready. They've already the YouTube channel is set up, the Facebook page is set up, the website domain name has been saved, but I have not set up the page yet, but it's coming. Have not set up the website yet, excuse me, but it's coming. Number two, send announcement letters, emails, and postcards to Black churches to explain the documentary and to recruit participants. Offer $50, offer $50 gift cards for participation. This is where I struggled and why it took so long for me to really put this together, because I could not figure out how we would get the word out about what we're doing. So, because I know my mom and dad and their siblings are just sitting in churches all the time, and if we made an announcement in the churches about this project and asked people to volunteer to participate, then that could be one way to get the word out and to recruit participants. Of course, that could be, like I said, one way. Other ways we can also use would be, of course, our social media platforms and postcards, direct mailing, or whatever, but that could be the primary way to at least get started on getting the word out. Number three, share the online platforms and other tools participants can use to register to participate in a documentary and compile their contact information, their names and contact information. Now, our participants are, of course, a certain age group, and they may not use social media platforms. I know my parents don't. So we would have to have other tools that they can use to register. So again, when they go to the churches, they could have postcards available. We would have postcards available so that they can complete their information. Maybe after church, have the announcer say, okay, after church, you can complete these postcards, and then they compile them, or we'll have a representative there to collect them. And that way we can compile their information in a database so that we can reach out to them to then schedule the meetings with our historians to tell their stories, how we can set that up. Next, number four, send announcements, letters, emails, um, postcards to HBCUs. That's a primary place. We're going to reach out to recruit historians and other educational institutions to explain the documentary and recruit historians to record the testimonials. So these two groups of people are going to have to work together. The participants are the people who have the testimonials, and the historians are the people who are going to record their testimonials. So we need to get the buy-in from the professors, and I'm going to ask the professors at these colleges and universities to allow the historians to earn some type of credit, internship or bonus points or something to give them an incentive for participating in this project. Six, allow historians to complete an application to learn about the requirements and explain why they want to participate. In addition to recruiting, we're going to then people who express an interest, the students who express an interest in being one of our historians, will then complete an application that will teach them about the requirements of this project and explain and allow them to explain why they want to participate. And then we'll compile a list of historians, their name and contact information. After we have that list, we will require the selected historians to enroll in classes facilitated by Mr. Glenn Berkins, who is the founder of QCityMetro.com. Mr. Berkins has agreed to teach them how to prepare for interviews, ask questions, and how to record testimonials correctly. Glenn will offer suggestions on how the historians should prepare their kits for interviews. The kits will include things like their microphones, their recorders, any type of questionnaires they need, just how to handle themselves professionally in an interview when they meet face to face with our participants. I, Susan Woods, will teach the historians how to access the social media platforms and upload the content correctly. I'm not going to be like a middle person for them to, okay, record their content and send it to me and I upload. No, I'm going to give them the passwords to our social media platforms and allow them to upload the content directly. And that way I don't have to be the person to receive it and then upload it. I don't want to be overwhelmed with that process. And so, if, of course, I'm going to look at the content to make sure that it meets the requirements that Mr. Perkins has established for them. But other than that, I'm just going to let them upload it and make it accessible to the public quickly. My nonprofit organization, Comprehensive Community-Based Solutions Incorporated, which is the primary sponsor, will provide the supplies, the equipment, the internship prizes, the liability insurance, and everything else required to support this project using grant money and tax-deductible investments that I know people who I know in my circle of influence will help me with. I will serve as a primary revenue generation strategist. That means I'm going to be the person that's going to raise the money from the people who are going to invest. And I have no doubt that the budget will be met. And the budget is presented later on in this presentation. Now, number 11, I'm going to track the video uploads per month per intern, per historian. And we're going to have like a competition. So in addition to the professors providing an incentive for the interns or the historians to participate, we're going to have a competition that's going to be held each quarter to award the interns for their participation. And our quarters are broken down. Quarter one is January through March, quarter two is April through June, quarter three is July through September, and quarter four is October through December. So the interns will compete for prizes each quarter based on the number of testimonials they record and upload correctly. The prizes are as follows. First place $1,000, second place $750, third place $500, fourth place $250, fifth place $100. And these prizes will be awarded each quarter. Each quarter. So at the end of each quarter, we will announce the 5 prizes, and this process will repeat each quarter. No carryovers, blank slates at the beginning of each quarter. So if John Doe wins first place, $1,000 in quarter one, quarter two, he cannot carry over the number of videos he did in quarter one. It's a clean slate, and that way everybody has a fair opportunity to win. At the end of the year, we're going to announce a $5,000 grand prize winner. And that's the historian that posted the most videos correctly over the entire year. So then we will add up all of the videos that were uploaded per quarter to determine who uploaded the most. And we're going to have a banquet that's going to honor the historians and the participants um, for that year, for participating that year, and invite the public to come and see what we've done. I'm so excited about this. I'm excited about the profound impact it's going to have on the community. Not just the black community, again, on the American community or anybody, American or not, whomever is interested in American history, I think they will enjoy what we're doing. Now, the annual budget, $10,400 for quarterly prizes. So what I did, I just added up the quarterly prizes and multiplied it by 4. $5,000 for the annual grand prize. $18,000 for participants. And let me tell you what that is. The participants are the people who are going to share their testimonials. And I'm anticipating setting a goal of having 30 participants per month. So we've already said we're going to give each participant $50. So 30 times 50, that is not right. Wait a minute. Yeah, 15, I'm sorry. Excuse me. 30 times 50 is $1,500 for the participants. And then when you say 360 participants per year, that's where I got the $18,000 total per year, because that's how many participants we're going to end up with if we meet our goal. Okay, and then $10,000 for historians kits, whatever goes into those kits, and Glenn is going to help me with that. But we're going to have 50 historians. That's the goal, to have 50 students, and plan to give them $200 worth of supplies and equipment in their kits that they're going to take and record their videos for the whole year. And then I allocated $1,600 for unexpected expenses for a total of $45,000. And as I was talking about the banquet, I just realized I did not include banquet costs in here, so I'm going to add some costs to that when I determine what a banquet cost might be. So it's going to go up. It's going to go up. But right now it's $45,000. Honoring our Black history. 400 years ago, the first African Americans arrived in the United States as enslaved people. You may have noticed that this year many people recognize the hashtag 400 years and honored what it means to our Black history. 400 years ago, 400 years ago, we came here in 1619. Now, of course, there's some debate on the accuracy of that, but that's what we're going with. The Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials is our way of honoring a time period in or during the 400 years between 1619 and 2019. When I was thinking of a way to honor that time period, this is what I came up with, because, I'm just going to be honest, growing up, I heard my parents talk about picking cotton, And I remember one time I was a sassy little girl, and I said, "That's easy, Mom. What's it hard about picking cotton?" The mother that I have, I can show you better than I can tell you. She took me to a cotton field, and she showed me how to pick cotton. And let me tell you, it did not take long for me to realize my statement was completely stupid when I said it was easy. It's not easy. It is not easy. Picking cotton is very difficult. Your hands are so sore because you're picking cotton and you're being stuck all day long. And you're carrying around a big sheet tied around across your shoulder, around your neck, and you're having to fill it with cotton with a goal of 100 pounds a day for $2. It makes me angry even thinking about it. We want to establish a historical record of Black history using the same format as the historians who created the collection entitled Born in Slavery: Slave Narratives from the Federal Writers Project, 1936 to 1938. If you have not listened to the slave narratives, I really highly recommend that you do so. I purchased them. And I'll be honest, I didn't listen to all of them. I probably listened to the first five, and hearing their voices, hearing them talk about what their lives were like as slaves, lets you know that anyone who says that slaves enjoyed slavery are complete idiots. And it was so important. I'm so thankful that someone had the forethought to record their testimonials before they left us. I'm so glad. I hate they couldn't have recorded more, but I'm glad they recorded what they did. Born in Slavery: Slave Narratives from the Federal Writers Project, 1936 to 1938, contains more than 2,300 first-person accounts of slavery and 500 black and white photographs of former slaves. These narratives were collected in the 1930s as part of the Federal Writers Project, FWP, of the Works Progress Administration, later renamed Works Project Administration, WPA. At the conclusion of the Slave Narrative Project, a set of edited transcripts was assembled and microfilmed in 1931 as the 17-volume Slave Narratives: A Folk History of Slavery in the United States from Interviews with Former Slaves. In 2000 to 2001, with major support from the Citigroup Foundation, the library digitized the narratives from the microfilm edition and scanned from the original's 500 photographs, including more than 200 that had never been microfilmed or made publicly available. This online collection is a joint presentation of the manuscript and prints and photographs divisions of the Library of Congress. I want the cotton pickers' authentic testimonials to have the same profound impact that the slave narratives had on me. I want our project to impact future generations in the same way the slave narratives impacted me. Although I am personally so thankful that we have 2,300 recordings of enslaved people sharing their testimonials firsthand over a 2-year period, like I said, I regret that historians did not record more testimonials. We plan to record every single authentic testimonial we can capture for many years to come. This is not a 1-year thing. Oh no. This is for years to come. As long as we have people alive who were cotton pickers, I want their voices to be recorded. We look forward to the profound impact this Black History documentary will have not only on the Black community, but like I said, but on all communities that care about American history. Thanks for your support. Our contact information you can find on our YouTube channel is called The Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials. Our Facebook page is the Cotton Pickers Authentic Testimonials. Email is cottonpickerstestimonials@gmail.com. Website thecottonpickers.org. And Susan Woods, me, Executive Director, 704-968-2769. Again, this was a terrible first draft, but I wanted you to see the flow. So I look forward to any feedback. I'm looking for constructive feedback on the flow and on anything else you think I need to change. I wrote down as I went through this, I need to add source information for all of the statistical data I provided, and I'll go back and put that in. Thanks, Glenn, for supporting me in this project, and I look forward to your feedback. Thank you.